Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Friday in the Riv. And we got a lot to talk about today. And I think my phone just got hacked and died. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with my phone.
Shut it off and turn it back on.
It wouldn't let me shut it. It wouldn't let me shut it off. I just got back in. I'm gonna shut it off right now and then turn it back on later. Okay, so we got some big stuff today on Friday, and we have a very scathing report that was our new big celebrity in the Fall River system, Mr. Attleboro, the guy from Attleboro that showed up at the school committee meeting to tell them about things, has now posted a scathing report about bullying in the Fall River school system. And actually, along those lines, CJ has procured something very valuable. We've been trying to get this since it happened. Oh, somebody's asking you for notary service. Yes, CJ.
Yes, I noticed. I already answered Colin on that.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, and hey, everybody. We've procured the video. CJ's procured the video of the fight at the bus stop. CJ, you want to cue that up?
I'm doing it now.
Niggas running out their mouth.
And shame on the school department and the city of Fall River for trying to blame each other and rather than coming together and addressing the problem. We were showing videos years ago of fist fights on the property, on school.
That's right, on property.
Outside of school, outside the door. Not a damn thing has been done about it for years. Paul Coogan, the scumbag, gives out pay raises and puts out more people, but they're turning Fall River into an animal farm. Yeah, that's what they need. They need to get their asses beat like a redheaded stepchild. In the old days, you got into a fight and you came home, you got another beating from your father. You know, if you gave any crap to a cop, you came home and you had to pull your father's foot out of your ass too.
So, right after they pulled the cop shoe out of your ass.
Yeah, and right after they pulled it, or they got in there and lived together in your ass. That's
right.
Because this is the problem. We see nothing that. No, Stevie, I agree. And this is a problem, but the city and the school committee has a legal obligation to protect the environment in the school and in and outside the school. What the hell are people doing over there? They've been suppressed. You're telling me they don't know about it? They knew about it because all they've been doing is making excuses. It's not our fault. Go talk to him. Yes, it is your fault. And by the way, legally, you may be responsible. So, because they are students, and it is a city, they run a city bus. So the city has to police its buses, has to police the environment, and the school department has to make its students understand. And they all need. That's what they all need. They all need.
Steve wants everyone to read this post.
Okay.
Sign them up for PAL. They need training. Look, juvenile degenerates. Get this from not having a father in the home, and the guardian has no respect for their authority. How many times you hear a single mother with multiple children from all different baby daddies get called into a parent-teacher meeting because their boy or girl was fighting or bullying and get angry at the teacher and curses the teacher out? Yeah, you're right.
You're right. No, you're right, Stephen. We know that. And therein lies the problem.
It's always that way.
My
little Joey didn't do it. You
Yeah.
screwed up. My little Janie didn't do it. You screwed up.
Yeah, Janie
My
or
kid's an
Johnny.
angel.
Listen, but this is not something new. But in the old
No.
days, they did something about it. You know,
That's right.
I remember a kid trying to set fire to a school that I went to, and they caught him, and we were questioning him with the police. I was there because I had to do a post, attempted arson investigation because I was on duty. And the mother was in there screaming and yelling. It wasn't my Johnny. It was, they caught the kid red-handed, but it's
Right.
like, it's never my Johnny. And who gives a damn? It's the school policy. And they don't prosecute anybody.
No, they don't.
They did it in Woonsocket. They took the students. They've done it in school systems in Rhode Island. They prosecute these kids. There has to be consequences for negative behavior, because this is the bullshit society we live in now. There are no consequences, only excuses, blaming everybody else except, well, the school department has to police their own house. The city has to police the city, but everything gets covered up. That's the bottom line in this city. Everything gets covered up.
Stevie.
This has been going on for years. I'd say, time flies when you're having fun. I'd say 3-4 years ago.
Muriel Aguiar on YouTube says that's awful. Stevie, it's not only David Meade that got threatened at the bus stop. Senior citizens are being threatened at the bus stop. What kind of quality of life do you have in Fall River when you go take the bus and they tell you, get out of my seat or I'm going to slash your throat?
Yes.
And it's a 15-year-old kid telling you that. You don't know what to think.
Yeah, and that therein lies the problem. Oh, my phone is screwed up. I was going to try to pull up a video. All it does is keep going on and off. I am screwed without this phone. I can't get it to my schedule. I don't know where the hell I'm going.
Didn't you just get that phone?
Yeah. But I got hacked.
At least a 30-day warranty?
I think it's more than 30 days now. But
well, I would call wherever you got it from, send it back, and get a replacement.
I think I actually got hacked because I was on Channel 10 news site, and then the thing started getting interference and all kinds of like dots and shit on it, and it kept coming and going like it was receiving a message from outer space, and I don't know what in the hell is going on, but I am going to get the company. But like I said, I'm screwed if I can't get into my goddamn schedule. I am toasted here, because without my schedule, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. So I did get into my schedule, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Grew up in a different era. Remember the day a kid was in the hallway raising hell. Well-respected teacher walked out of class into the hall. Door swung open. Teacher had the kid by the throat.
No, yeah, and you're right.
A foot off the floor.
Well, I mean, I was even
nobody cried about it. Message sent. Lesson learned. Nobody effed with that teacher again.
Yeah, now the teacher goes to jail.
Now the teacher goes to jail.
The teacher goes to jail. Listen, I was not a angel. I mean, I think when I was in the 3rd grade, Mrs. Cullen broke about 150 pointers over my back. She used to take you into the broom closet and beat you with sticks and stuff like that. And I wouldn't go home and tell my mother or father, because then I'd get another beating. So this is the problem. You've got these. There's always an excuse and always some kind of BS, and therein lies the problem. And I got ironically, a couple of people sent me a video of this comedian making fun of this generation. Like, The greatest generation. They lived through the Depression. They went without food. They went without thing, and then they were told to fight World War II, and they did. And and they got through it, and they came home and they built this country after the war, and blah blah blah. And they said, look at what we have today. Look at the horrifying things we've had to face today, like the peanut allergy, like being misgendered. This is what the hell we got now today. Therein lies the problem. But the problem is the government. There's no more accountability. They just let that scumbag that killed that Ukrainian woman out, saying he can't stand trial because he's a mental defective. Well, he's already used that to get away from 3 or 4 other previous crimes. Why isn't the government held accountable for letting that thing back out on the street? He should be in a mental institution. All right, you can't put him in jail. You put him in a nut house. He was roaming the streets to kill an innocent legal immigrant who came from a war zone. She survived the war in the Ukraine to come down here and be killed. And now the other idiot down in Virginia, they're looking to try to kick him loose that just bludgeoned somebody. I mean, this is the problem. You come to these blue states, it's like slap on a wrist or no punishment at all, or an excuse. Oh, his mommy didn't let him brush his teeth this morning. Or, he doesn't have a daddy. Well, a lot of people grow up without daddies. A lot of people grow up without mommies. But the society held them accountable. We have no accountability. And in this city, it's out of control. How can a school department allow, and what's it, do you have that? Read that. Can you read that verbatim, what they said about them not adhering to their own bullying policy?
They said that the Florida school system does not adhere to its own policies and procedures regarding bullying and bullying complaints. Their recommendation is retraining of all teachers and school staff. That's the recommendation.
Rather than holding them accountable.
Exactly.
So here we go again with the catch-22, because you know what I see here? I see government bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
Right.
I'm making a bullshit call because there's 2 excuses they use. We don't have a policy for that. But then you have the second one that if we do have a policy, nobody enforces it. So we're going to have to be retrained. No. You're going to have to be held accountable for not enforcing your school policy. What was that other one? What did John? I missed John's. I got to run it back as I was talking here. Oh.
Well, the state law, John, allows them to not provide transportation to middle and high school students. So the state law, Carol Fiola, open your freaking ears, allows them to do that. Maybe if the state law required the school systems to transport those students, we might have less of a problem. But I can tell you from speaking to school bus drivers, the yellow buses, that they have the problem on the bus. These kids don't give a shit. It's a status symbol for them.
Yeah, because there are no consequences, and they're in line.
Right.
And it's not only in the bus term. Look, I was sitting in Newport Creamery, which everybody, I think most people in the city know it is right near the high school. And I was sitting in there with someone having a meeting, and I saw 3 Durfee students. Hello, Adeline. Saw 3 Durfee students come in there, start giving the waitress a lot of crap, swearing and doing things. And then the manager came over and said to get out. And on the way out, they knocked over everything on the counters. They assaulted they pushed the manager, assaulted her, threatened her, and they just let them go out the door. Then they walked out the door, no nothing. And this is what you got. You got miscreants. They're not.
David, my advocacy, because CERTA doesn't want to provide police or security, the school department doesn't want to provide police or security. So my advocacy is have CERTA pay for a paid detail, because the forward police say they don't have the staff to provide security to the bus terminal.
Well, they do have staff to make arrests in situations like that and prosecute. I don't understand why, if this John is a Coogan Light supporter, he wants to hammer the school department. Coogan's in charge of the school department. He's the ex officio chairman. I don't, for his personal gain. Yeah. No, we need asylums. We need treatment. They let them sit, live in the street, shit on the street, attack people. Well, listen, this isn't about taxpayer money. This is about having a society that has some social mores, and money spent to control a society is well spent. You have to hold children and their parents accountable. You have to hold them accountable. And
I understand, David.
I can tell you one thing. It will not take a lot of actual accountability and them being held accountable to stop this, because once they put a couple of these little miscreants in front of a court and throw their ass in juvie for a while, where somebody can really beat their ass up, and give them a cell with Bubba and see how they like it, and we'll see how long that continues. The problem is, listen, this is not a debate. This is a fact. I've seen a lot of this world. Every country I went to where there was really stringent punishment for crimes and criminal actions, they were far safer than it is in the United States. And in these blue states, there's virtually, you're not safe from anybody, because every loony in the world is let out. I mean, you look at it, Virginia, another guy. There was a kid that groped numerous children in school. A young illegal grabbing private parts of girls in school. And Scumburger, or is it Spamburger, Spam and Eggs? I don't know what. That yo-yo that ran as a moderate, who's actually a far left-wing, won't even talk about it, but they won't turn the kid over to ICE to be deported, because they're a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state. The country's falling apart. Trump is right, whether you like Trump or not. We don't have a society anymore. This is chaos. Some nut that's got a criminal record 9 miles long can be walking on the street. You're sitting at a bus stop and he hits you in the head with a hammer for no reason, or he'll assault you.
I like Stevie's comment here. We evolve technology-wise, yet devolve in morality.
So that's correct. Yep. And the problem is that the technology has a lot to blame, because when you develop the kind of technology we have today, you're responsible for making sure that it doesn't have a negative impact on the society. And therein lies the problem.
Muriel has asked, thank you for remembering to read the comments. I'm getting in the car now and we'll be listening.
Yeah, well, listen, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You just, if you got a legitimate, there's no legitimate argument for making excuses and covering this shit up for years. Not for a day or two, not one isolated incident. This has gone on time and time again. We've heard of people having altercations across the street from the school And the first thing out of their mouth is, "Oh, it wasn't on school property. It's got nothing to do with us." Yes, it does. Is that a school or is that a prison?
We've heard it more than once.
Do you just let out the criminals? You babysit them from 8 to 3 or 8 to whenever? Oh, it'll work. Oh, I have to disagree, Alphonse. If they got the right scared straight, believe me, the old scared straight would have worked. Because they don't have any ability.
Edward, too bad. Too bad. Okay?
Yeah.
Something needs to be done because what's happening now is not working. It's not working. Kids get away with murder.
Well, Ed, and you're a great guy, and I know, but this is the problem. If somebody tells you to jump off the bridge, you probably shouldn't jump off the bridge. The school department has lost its mission because of the wokeness of this new society. They don't want to flunk kids. You can't flunk anybody that's a senior. You gotta pass them out. What happens then, Ed? Baltimore, graduating high school students that read at the 3rd grade level, a couple of the 5th grade level, the majority at the 8th grade level, and a couple at maybe the 10th or 11th grade level. To go out into society as a functional illiterate. To go out in society and your only job opportunities are being a pimp or a drug dealer if you want to make money.
Or a prostitute.
And this is what Massachusetts, the woke state, thinks about education. Don't hurt the child's feelings. Send him out into society where society doesn't give a shit, because the real world will hold him accountable. You can't read, you can't write, you're not getting a good job. Now figure out how to live the rest of your life.
That's it. Ed said that they told us we shouldn't suspend physical fighting.
Where you
they track such things,
children,
and too many suspensions get a system in trouble. Like I said, I don't care.
Yeah, well, let's not get into a fight with each other, about who you support. We don't care. But somebody's got to explain to me.
I think those are interim appointments, John. Do you comment when the school department was fined $80,000 under Ken's watch for asbestos violations? We all made comments about that. Okay? The problem is the school committee at that time did not hold him accountable and let him ride. As a matter of fact, you had Tom Corey turning around saying, "Oh, well, Ken's such a wonderful guy. We need to give him a raise. Oh, he can do no wrong. Blah 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 blah." And they bought it, hook, line, and sinker. That was the problem. Hopefully, yeah, I remember. Okay, when he was on the city side, he dumped contaminated dirt at the cemetery. And they were going to dump it in the parks.
2012. Yeah.
And they were going to dump it in the parks. For all we know, that contaminated soil is in the parks.
There's the school dust.
Yeah.
We keep them. We have an inventory here. I want somebody to explain to me where the school system went for a place where we educate our children to have a productive life and be good citizens, to a place that they come out like savages. And we say you can't habilitate them. You can't socialize them because you're going to hurt their feelings. Like I said.
Hey, Colin says it right. We need to not listen to everything Desi says, Mr. Costa. So
that's right.
Yeah.
You need to do your job. Your job is not to not hurt the feelings of the students. Your job is to educate the students. Do you really believe that they could get away with this shit in Japan? No. I got a video of Japanese classrooms where their attainment level is through the roof.
Unlike Massachusetts.
They're required to learn, or there are consequences. in woke states, we want to teach them about, let's see, pronouns, gender identification. Therein lies the problem. I don't care whether you agree or disagree with those things. School systems were created to educate children, not indoctrinate them into these agendas.
You're right, Ed.
The federal government does give the schools
money, but it says, but with that money comes strings attached. Guess what? It's up to the schools to design the policy and stick by the policy and procedures. Okay? They're not saying you can't suspend students because you're getting federal money. They're not governing the disciplinary policies. That's being
I can guarantee you that Linda McMahon and Donald Trump are not telling you that they don't want children disciplined. They're conservatives. So that's another, well, we were told to do this. Well, you're an educational system and you're independent. I want you to educate the children. And if the federal government or the state government or the mayor or the ex officio chairman, i.e. the mayor, tells you, we're not going to educate them, we just want to keep a lid on them until we can get them out of here. And we're going to pass them whether they're functional illiterates or not.
And that's what Fall River says.
Then you say, no, we'll go to court and fight. You want to go to court and say, we do not want to educate our children in the things that education is supposed to be. It's an absolute national disgrace that we are behind third world countries in reading and math. And that's a fact, Ed. That's a fact.
Colin says, I think this new school committee has done a much better job handling facilities and all departments accountable.
Well, let's see what they do about this.
Started.
Well, rather than retrain everybody in bullying, their bullying policy, why don't you hold them accountable for not abiding by the bullying, since they're employees and they are supposed to work within the parameters of their employment agreement. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. They should be censured by the school committee. Oh, retrain them until next year, and we have another report that says they're still not abiding by it. Then we'll retrain them again. Well, you should have disobeyed the order and told them take them to court.
That's right. Tell them to take me to court.
Eric
says, Paul Coogan and I were new school committee people when Desi told us you can't send two kids home for fighting in school on the same day as the fight, even if both parents agreed. We were aghast. Well, fight them in court. Tell them to take me to court. Bottom line. That's been the problem. The school committee has historically, like the city council, had no balls. Historically, they've had no balls. Desi says jump. You said, let me get off my knees first.
Well, let me tell you right now, nobody's going to tell anybody that wants to be an effective leader that they can't do what it takes to control the environment in a school. You tell Desi, well, take us to court because we're going to do what we think is necessary to control. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. Look at the attainment levels. Look at the attainment levels nationally. Public education is in the toilet because of what? Because of liberals. That's why. Because they don't pay them.
Rhode Island just said that, oh, our students are doing great. They're at the 4th grade reading level. We're doing better than anywhere else in the country.
They lower the standards.
Right.
You know, what they do is they never, ever think achievement is a priority. Well, there again, Ed, You've spent a lot of time in the classroom, and I respect that in the school system. But see, I've spent a lot of time in court beating the shit out of this city and the state. You know what I'd say if they told me that? Punishment is a disciplinary action. It's part of a normal school system's right to do. And education is our priority. And if punishment is necessary to further the goal of maintaining an environment that the rest of the students can learn in, take me to court and beat my ass.
That's it.
That's what I tell them. And I've done it. I'm not speaking from theory, Ed. You watched me. You watched me. You got free Blue Cross because of me. Because of the lawsuit I filed. For 3 months, and an $18 premium reduction in 1991 because of the suit I filed against this city when they robbed our money. No balls. No balls.
That's right. That's right.
That's the
so
problem.
Ed turned around and said, they say, here is the money, but you have to use negotiations, say, not punishment or consequences. I wrote policies. I don't agree with this, but money talks. Well, money may talk, but guess what? Bullshit also walks.
Yeah, you're gonna withhold the money? Well, I'd take it to court. You're gonna withhold the money from me trying to educate my children. Make that a national incident, Ed. See, that's the problem. You guys you always worried about the political feedback. And you know what I did with the political feedback? Said right there, let's go. Let's fight right now. And I beat him every time. Twice a day.
Colin says, as we discussed, CJ, transportation is an unfunded mandate, meaning we get no money from the state, even though they must require it by law. School committee policy goes above and beyond the minimum state laws. I agree with John that it should be best to transport them on yellow buses. However, we do not have the funds for next year's either on the school bus side or the city side to afford that increase. What we should do short term is file an unfunded mandate petition with the state auditor to unlock.
Yeah, well, okay. This discussion has gone so far off there. Here's what happens with these discussions. You know what we're doing? You know what the word myopic means? We've completely got off the real issue, the students' behavior, and how we adjust that to be socialized. Now it's about school. It's about busing. If there were no buses, Colin, there are fights outside the school. There are fights across the street from the schools. There are fights in the schools. There are fights everywhere. It's not a busing issue. That's a peripheral issue. It's about the students being unsocialized, savages. That's the problem. And you're allowing them to be it by saying, oh, the state wants us to let them be this way. Well, let the state make that freaking case in court.
Let the state come down, run the school system, and do the education. Let's see how long they last.
And let them pay. I'm paying.
That's right. Let them pay for it.
People educated. I don't have any more kids in school. My kids both went to Durfee. They both went to college. They both had advanced degrees. Multiple advanced degrees, actually. You think if they came home and got into fist fights every day at school, I wouldn't put my foot in their ass? You think I wouldn't have been in that school screaming? If you didn't punish my son or daughter for violating the rules, I would be on your ass. That's the
way
problem.
it should be.
There's always an excuse. Oh, it's the buses now. We don't have the money for the bus. Fuck the buses. It's not about the buses. It's about the animals on the bus and how they got to be animals.
Well, what's interesting, Stevie B says it right. More people in the school system need to do like the radical Democrats do. Take a stand for the kids we educate. Be brave and protest. Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
But the Democrats,
don't forget the unions are a problem too. Too much power.
Well, Yeah, well, that is a problem, but they give them the power because look,
That's right.
The union can negotiate a pay raise. The union cannot negotiate to abdicate their burden to educate our children. They can't put in a contract that they have to pass people who are, you're going to have to just turn your head, let people assault people and do this. No, there's policies. The whole thing is bullshit. It's always
right.
Oh, the policy. Well, first it's no policy. Malone. Well, we can't do anything to them. There's no policy. Now there is a policy. And Desi says, oh, yeah, just retrain them in a policy. Why? They ignored it. And what are you going to do again? Tell them they can't send people home? That's ridiculous because it's a contradiction.
Right.
You want them to control their behavior, but you require them not to control their behavior. You don't have the latitude to suspend people. Well, sorry.
Gene says it well. There's always an excuse, and they never stop with the excuses when it is defending corrupt politicians and a failing school system. They should use that energy to hold them accountable.
You're right, Gene. Well said.
The focus back then was getting Meg Mail Brown out. That's all. After that, they all bailed out. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, they wanted Meg Mayo Brown out because Coogan came back to run for school committee to get rid of her because she wouldn't make him a principal. So we know about.
I like what Josh says. LOL. So anything goes because money is involved. Come on, education. Get the F out of here. The schools, the unions, the state locked kids in the house for 2 effing years. Yes, they did.
That's right. Good point, Josh.
That's right.
They don't care. They locked them in for 2 years. The education got even worse.
That's right.
They were not monitored. But this is all bullshit. All these public school systems doing it. That's why they want to get rid of it on a federal level completely, because they know education is a failure in the United States. They're up third world countries where they don't have electricity 24 hours a day that are doing better than the United States. How can you reconcile Baltimore? When I read that report, talk about being aghast. Paul's not aghast. He's been in that system for 30 years. He covered up more shit and saw people, rules being violated his whole freaking career. And there's
nothing about it. Hey,
if you had integrity, you would have been fighting about it. Nobody heard a peep from him, ever.
Gene's right. We give them too much already. We walked in snowstorms in the 60s. Nobody gave us a bus. We walked home for lunch. Nobody provided lunch to us. This is all bullshit, Democratic weaklings.
Well, you're right, because remember, we walked uphill both ways to school in those days, Gene, you and I. And I'm kidding, but when I went to school, when I went to the great Davis Grammar, that CJ knows about Davis Grammar.
Davis School on Quikasham Street.
When I went to Davis, I went to James M. Aldrich School, which was like a half a block from my house. And then I went to Davis Grammar, and we didn't have a cafeteria. We didn't have lunches. Our mother gave, our parents gave us like 50 cents or $1. And we had to go out and eat every afternoon because they were all working. My mother was working in a mill, and my father was working on a road, construction. So we were alone, and everybody that was at Davis with me, we all went out to George's Hot Dogs one day, Mark Hughes the next day, and we managed to survive and get an education. And that's right. They locked these kids up for 2 years and didn't give two shits about it.
I guess your phone's working now.
I'm gonna get off here for a second, okay?
Ed says this replaced suspension by the Fed's virtual suspension room, restoration justice, restitution, social, emotional learning, positive behavior, interventions and supports. mini courses, counseling, trauma-informed practices, community service, alternative programming. That's all BS. All BS. Okay? You got to stop that. Okay? You got to stop it. That's against social transformative. That's woke democratic bullshit. All of it. Woke democratic bullshit. Okay? Let me tell you something. When my kid was in school, she got attacked. I went to school, they were blaming her for getting attacked. She's the one that had the wounds. She's the one that had the cuts. She had the abrasions. She had to go to the ER. And the girls that attacked her, plural, had no repercussions.
I'm back.
My daughter's repercussion was going to the emergency room at my expense. So I don't want to hear, oh, well, you know, we can't suspend them. We can't discipline them. Well, you know what? The kid shouldn't be in school then. Put the kid in the zoo. Yeah. Social emotional learning is nothing but a DEI program that has had no good impact. All it is another excuse to dump money into a pit. You're right, Gene. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, well, restorative justice and all that other crap, unfortunately, is bullshit. Okay,
That's right.
I'm sorry. I've gone on about this.
And just remember, Ed. Just remember, Parkland still happened.
I know you're a psychologist, but let me run this one by you. You know, this whole society is degenerated because of this mollycoddling of everybody, from children to criminals. I remember many years ago when jail was a place you went to be punished, and when you got out, you didn't want to go back to jail. But now it's a restorative justice rehab facility. We're going to teach them a trade. We're going to rehabilitate them. Well, there's only one problem. And I know you're a well-educated man. The prefix re means to do it over again, like retread, reevaluate. Okay? So rehabilitate means to rehabilitate, which is fundamentally socialize. You can't socialize someone who was never socialized in the first place. So the entire concept that they use and still use in prisons never will work, because you're taking people who have never been socialized. They're antisocial criminals, sociopaths at best, psychopaths at worst, career criminals, and you're going to pretend that you can turn them into productive citizens. You cannot remake something that was never made in the first place. Society and whoever was in charge of these people, or they have a mental defect and they're sociopaths or psychopaths, cannot be fixed. That scumbag that stabbed that Ukrainian girl is a sociopath at best. He's been let out numerous times, and he killed a woman who escaped the war zone to come here to the United States to live a quiet life, and was sitting looking at her phone and got stabbed to death by an animal that had been let off 3 or 4 previous times because he was mentally unfit. What is he doing on the street? This horse shit of mollycoddling everybody. You go to places. I went to the Dominican Republic one time, and I was at a guide, and we went by the jail, and he said, "Oh, there's the jail." And you know what his comment to me was? Nobody wants to go there. Well, why not? Well, because sometimes if you go there, you don't get out alive. You come out in a box. Most of those countries where people don't want to go to jail, there's a lot less crime. In Japan at one time, I don't know if it still is, when you were in a cell in Japan, you couldn't just lay in your bunk all day. You had to actually kneel or stand in the middle of the cell. You could only lay down after a certain time. People don't like to go to jail in other countries. Over here, I know people that used to go to jail intentionally during the winter, so they wouldn't freeze to death because they were half homeless, and then they'd lift weights, get back in shape, and come out all summer and sell drugs. So I grew up in a street, Ed, and I grew up in a school system. The teacher could kick your ass, and I'll tell you, the society was a hell of a lot more ordered.
Yes, it was.
Spare the rod, spoil the child. Oh, you can't say that anymore. Oh, that's cruelty. No, it's not. It's you can go over, but the fact is that give me without rules, you don't have a society. You have chaos, and the school department is allowing this, and they're using each other as deflections and buffers and excuses. Oh, the state told us we couldn't do it. Oh, the federal government said we couldn't do it. And my response to you is, nobody's telling me not to do something I need to do to make my child into a productive citizen.
That's right. So Gene says, all jail and prison ever taught me, after many times, was better ways to beat the system and better ways to steal. It is a crime academy, that's for sure. Counseling helps many students. It does not change sociopathic, dangerous behavior. I've seen kids helped by mentoring or counseling, but kids who have no conscience or are just stuck in violence need consequences. You're right.
You're right. And that's exactly the point, Ed. You're right.
Right.
And I know some kids who had some, issues that somebody like you would be would really help them. And I've seen a lot of kids who had adjustment problems and stuff like that were turned around and became very, very successful. I mean, look at, I'm sure you've read that book. There were 3 of them. A Boy Named It. It was about a child that was brought up in a basement like an animal and never even got a name. They called him It. He was neglected, abused. That guy became a famous author, a well-adjusted person. Some people are strong enough. Some people need counseling. And you're right. Counseling does help a lot of people, but you've got to know exactly what you just said. You just answered the question. You've got to be able to know that these people are sociopaths and they're irredeemable, and you got to take care of them.
That's right.
You can't just say we're going to just keep them in this revolving door of counsel and letting them out on the street to murder people and behave badly. That's the point. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Ed. You made the point.
Michelle says it good. I went to Catholic school, and we didn't get away with anything. The nuns were like drill sergeants. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Oh, the poor kid. This is from Gene. He doesn't have a father. The mother's an alcoholic. They don't feed him. We have to take care of him. F that. No mother. Take the kid. Put them in youth program and find him a new set of parents. Take the mother, throw her in jail until she dries out. Yeah. Makes sense.
That's what I like, Gene. A nice, soft approach to the problem.
Yeah, he's very diplomatic. Very diplomatic.
I like that.
Ed says, teachers agree with you, but they're leaving their profession. That's because they can't do anything.
And you're right, Ed. I know a lot of teachers who are just counting the days till they retire. They won't leave
right.
if they're close to retirement. And other teachers have left the state to go to states where they're actually allowing them to teach. And not be abused.
And it acknowledges safety must rule everything. You're right. But the problem is
everything.
The problem is Fall River doesn't. Fall River said, Desi says, I almost slipped and said, but Desi says, kiss my ass. You say, shaved or unshaved. That's what you say.
Well, no, Ed's right. He spent a lot of time as he did a lot of good. I know Ed. He was a really good, really good at his job. And but this is the key. You can't handcuff the school system and the teachers. I know a lot of good teachers. I know a lot of good teachers that are just counting the days till they can get out now because they're disgusted. They've had it. They're not being protected either because the reality is they're in jeopardy out there going to school.
Right.
That place is a war zone.
Right. Right.
And it's up to the school committee to start telling the state, you're not telling us environment, and Ed hit it on the nose. Environment is the key to education. Without a safe, healthy, nurturing environment in the school systems, you can't educate kids. They got to feel safe there. And that's the key.
And the amount of bullying and hazing that goes on in the school systems is unacceptable. And when your school system's already cited for not following your own policies and procedures on handling that, how is my son or daughter going to be safe in your school system? That's why parents are looking at places like Atlantis Charter School and Argosy and Catholic schools because their children, they don't feel their children are safe in the public school system anymore. And the public school system has become a place for dummies. Because if you don't have the acumen to get the academic achievements you need, we still graduate you. We'll pass the buck to some college or vocational school that you might go to after high school. That's the problem. And Fall River is the poster child. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. And it's supposed to be warm on Monday.